I needed her to hear my terrible thoughts and to speak truth to me, to persuade me that I was wrong. But I could only talk to myself. Or to God. I had to keep talking to him. And why was he so silent? I yelled at him, not out loud but in my heart. I may as well talk to this wall. All I heard was silence. My tears blinded me. Where are you when I most need you? You have wounded my heart. How can I ever recover? I was having a faith meltdown. All the progress I'd made in my final weeks in Harmandala, where I prayed many times a day to surrender to God's plan, had vanished. The guards came to lock up the courtyard. It was 5 p.m. My watch had stopped working in the early morning hours of December 12, when I saw in the night that the hands were frozen on the 10 and 2, which I immediately noted added up to 12. I had felt an ominous chill go through my body. The 12th was over now. Clearly my appeal had been denied. I was still in prison. Even my watch was mocking me. I found out that all my cellmates were new to Shakran. They told me they had been transferred from a freezing, decrepit prison in the mountains called Buja. According to them, Shakran was an improvement. I also discovered that the director had only shared part of the story when he told me that they were teachers. Some of them had worked at schools run by the Gulen movement, but 6 of my cellmates were from the police, and 2 were chiefs. In the aftermath of the attempted coup, the atmosphere among the public in Turkey had been tense. Among the police and judiciary it had been frantic. Not only was Erdogan taking advantage of the opportunity to lock away political opponents, but ambitious prosecutors, judges, and members of the police were also accusing colleagues of being Gülenists in order to secure their own status. Others were doing it to save their own skins. Someone who had been arrested would be offered a deal. Tell us who has been involved with Gülen, and we will let you go, if you give enough names. Some desperate men would list all their colleagues, who would then be rounded up and thrown into prison. No evidence was necessary. Being on someone's list was enough. One of my cellmates had been accused of attending a picnic with Gülenists 10 years ago, at a time when Erdogan himself was praising Gülen. We had even heard that the former director of Shakran was now a prisoner in his own prison. One day you could be doing your job, arresting suspects and helping track down the plotters, while the next day a secret witness could accuse you of being disloyal without submitting any evidence, and you'd be hauled up before a judge. This is what happened to another of my cellmates. He had been taken before a judge he knew well, begged for his freedom, and protested his innocence. I know, said the judge, but it's either you or me. If I don't send you to prison, they'll send me there instead. One by one I heard stories just like this. Some of the men knew the identity of the colleague who had deliberately stabbed them in the back, while others could only guess. One of them, a man in his mid-30s called Emin, stood out. His family was wealthy and well known throughout Turkey. His father knew Erdogan, but was accused of employing Gülen as teachers in the university he'd established. They'd arrested the father first, then had gone after Emin, accusing him of taking money to Kazakhstan to fund Gülenist schools there. Emin smiled when he told me how the prosecutor had listed the dates that he'd believed Emin was in Kazakhstan. I showed them my passport, proving that I was not out of the country when they said I was, but they locked me up anyway. Okan Batu had decided to go after my family. Okan Batu? I said, remembering the wolfish prosecutor who'd stared at me with such hatred in the courthouse. The cell hummed with murmurs of disgust, but there was little surprise in their voices.